Have you ever felt that you're trying to talk to your partner, but it doesn't seem to work? It doesn't seem that you can reach a point where you can understand each other, and it actually feels that you're not speaking the same language. Hi everyone, here Tenti again with a nice sharing hopefully for you. I'm really happy that you're listening, and just keep in mind that whenever you're listening, you're also supporting my channel to become a bit more popular. And I'm, of course, really grateful for all the support that I'm receiving. And yeah, the more you listen to me, the longer you listen to me, the more this podcast will become more popular, which is something I'm really looking forward to reach more people and have bigger impact in this beautiful world. So one of the insight I got in the last day, I was actually experiencing a challenge when trying to communicate with someone. And I guess you know this question, like, have you ever felt that when you were talking to your partner, it felt like you're talking a completely different language? It feels like when you're looking at her or you're looking at him, it's not the same person. You're like, but why is it now so difficult to talk to you, to have a conversation to you with you, or to even connect with you? And one of the main reasons this can be happening, based on my own observation, is that we're not speaking from the same position. Meaning by this that sometimes in a relationship we have someone speaking more out of the head than from out of the feelings. And then the other one might be in his feelings or in her feelings, and they're speaking and talking from that position. So whenever you have the head talking to the heart, it becomes really challenging to actually meet each other. And one of the main challenges I've seen is that whenever someone is talking from the head, there is a lack of empathy happening, and this is exactly what the feeling is asking. So if your partner is talking from the feelings and you're talking from your head, what will happen is that you will be less empathic because you're not so connected to your feelings. And then you have your partner, which is talking from the feelings, which is actually looking to be seen. And being seen is feeling. It's a feeling. It's not just being seen as a human and, oh, I see you physically, you're there. It's seeing in your feelings. So if you don't have empathy, you cannot really see, oh, this is the feeling how you feel. Now I see you. Now I can understand you. So whenever we have one side talking from the mind, which is more rational and yeah, less empathic because there is less feelings, or sometimes even no feelings at all. And then the other one, which is in the feelings, and actually is only asking to be seen in the feelings and understood from the feelings, well, it starts struggling because it's not happening. So for the mind, it's also very frustrating because the mind is like really rational and logic, and it's saying like, okay, well, this is just like this. I mean, I cannot see why you cannot understand this. This is really practical. This is actually a really good plan to do. It's easier. And the other one will say, but I don't care about if it's logic or not because I'm the feelings. I'm just what I am. I am what I am at that moment. And it is not logic. And it's not organized. And it's not structured because I'm emotions and feelings. So you see, we have two different approaches, and it's just impossible from both sides to understand each other because we don't speak the same language depending on the position. Now, of course, I'm sharing here in a case if there are extremes. So someone was really in the head and the other one was really in the feelings. So how can you actually solve this situation? Well, in all communication, empathy is your best ally. Whenever you feel that you're not able to feel the person, you already know that you're too far in your head. So empathy can be your indicator. Where are you at? Am I too much? Am I too rational? Am I too cold? Can I actually see the other person? Or am I just all logic, 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 rational, rational, rational? So if you notice this and you're on the side of the head, well, the first advice I would say is slow down. Just slow down. Stop for a moment. Just stop and ask you this question. Am I able to feel? Am I able to feel myself? Am I able to feel my partner? Can I have empathy? And how do you know if you're feeling? Well, ask you this question. What am I feeling right now? And maybe you can say, oh, I'm feeling tense. Well, it makes sense, right? When you're in your mind, it makes sense that you're tense. And then the other question is, how does my partner feel? And you should be able, through empathy, to reply on that without needing your partner to reply for you. Just by understanding the problematic, so the situation, for example, your partner explains, like, this happened today, or this was your behavior, and this is my pain. So, with this, you should be able already, through empathy, to put yourself into the position of your partner and try to feel and ask this question: how would I feel if I'm in that exact situation and my partner behaved the exact same way? And then you can reply to this. If you cannot reply to this, it's because you're not tapping into empathy. So it will be very difficult, even almost impossible, for you to have a proper communication because you're unable to feel the other person. And the other person, which is in the feeling, will not feel seen, will not feel listened to. So whenever you're asking yourself, oh, but she's constantly telling me that I cannot listen to her, that I don't see her, but I am there, I'm sitting there in front of her, and I'm listening. Yes, but are you also there with your feelings, or are you just there with your body and your mind, trying to memorize and process all the information that she's sharing, but you don't really land anything inside of your body? So you don't land anything inside of your feelings. So you're not feeling her. So it's the same result. You're not listening and you're not being present, by the way. So you cannot really understand, and there is no connection. There is not a place where you both are meeting. You're both pointing different directions. So on the other side, the one of the feeling, also they also can do something. So you are in your feelings. Feelings sometimes can be too much, in the sense that they take too much space, because when we dive into our feelings, usually they're painful. And whenever they're painful, it becomes really big. And it should be good to know how to measure how much is enough space for those feelings. So I'm feeling sad today. Well, I'm going to express to my boyfriend or to my girlfriend, hey, I am feeling sad. So this is the space I want. I just want to express my sadness. However, I'm not going to go into a cycle of feeding that sadness over and over and over again and saying, oh, yes, I understand you, but I'm sad. I understand you, but I'm sad. Your story is really beautiful, but I'm still sad. Because then actually what we're doing, we're going into victimizing, and then we're pushing a lot of responsibility on the other to say, hey, solve my pain, release my pain. And that is going too far. You have to be able to hold yourself responsible for your own feelings, knowing how to express them, knowing until where you can express them and when to hold back, when to just hold the space. You're not reducing the space, you're just holding it and say, okay, I'm not going to keep on going in sharing and sharing and sharing, because I already have taken a lot of space. And what I mean with space is basically time, and how much you talk about yourself and how much you talk about what you're sharing. So that's what I mean with space. So it's also knowing where you put the limit, and wherever you put the limit, you can invite your mind to come in. The mind is really good in that, and that's a really good skill. So whenever you're too much in your feeling, as you're feeling overwhelmed, and you say, I feel so sad about this, well, your mind can tell you, hey, maybe you're going too far, maybe you're exaggerating a little bit. Yes, it is sad what happened to you today. However, you also have this other view, which is positive. So you see, the mind can jump in and give a different perspective. So put this into practice with your partner is the one that is in the head tries to get more empathy and ask those questions. Am I feeling empathy? Am I able actually to reply the question how I feel and how does my partner feel? And then the other one, the feelings is, am I taking too much space? And can my mind come and join me at some point to also somehow meet the other person, which is normally now in the state of the mind. So the one that is in the state of the mind tries to get closer to the feelings. It doesn't mean it's going to switch straight away to the feelings. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a progressive movement. And then you have the one from the feeling going and getting closer to the mind. Not going straight away into the mind, not jumping into the mind. Doesn't make any sense. You're still there with your feelings, but you're using and you're getting help from your mind to have a nice conversation and actually meet the other person in the middle. Sorry, I got a little bit lost in that what I was sharing. So you see, it's a work from both sides. It cannot be just one-sided. If someone is too much in the head, too much in the mind, and there is no empathy, there is no feelings, and there is no space for feelings, there is nothing you can do. There's literally nothing you can do, and the outcome will be not positive. And if you're too much in your feelings and you don't want to listen to the mind at all, and it's all about drama and doom scenarios and victims, well, there's not much that you can do neither, because you're just drowned in that state. So there's one thing you have to keep in mind, and it's not nice to hear, but in a relationship, it is a thing of two. And in communication, it's the same thing. So if you have one out of the two, which is not willing to maybe get more empathy, or the other one to get a little bit of more rationality into their feelings, there is not much you can do. The only thing I would suggest is you just wait until one or the other is able to get closer. You can try as much as you want, and you will be able to understand. So if you're in your feelings and you can invite your mind, you will be able to understand the one that is really strongly in the mind and in the stories and in the head. But it doesn't mean that you're gonna meet each other, because it's gonna be only one way. And if you're in your head and the other one is extremely in their feelings and is victimizing in doom scenarios, also, even though you generate empathy, it does not mean you're going to meet each other. It means that you will be able to understand your partner that is drawn into the feelings, but it doesn't mean that she or he will be able to see you. So it's again a one way. And this is something that is really extremely important in your relationship, because I've seen this happening over and over again in my own experience and in some other people's experience, where both sides are not understanding each other because one of them is not willing to do the effort for some reason, because it's more convenient for them to stay in their feelings, in the victim, or it's more convenient for them to stay in the mind, in the rational and in the cold, because then they don't feel. And the feelings, the one that is in the feelings wants to be in the victim so that they can keep on feeding that story of a victim. So this is something that I think would be really nice to bring up in your relationship, guys. And also take your responsibility. Usually, guys, it depends, of course, what type of guy you are. Are you more in your feelings? Are you more in your rational? If you identify that you're more in your rational and your girlfriend or your partner is in the opposite, or sometimes you're even in the same, which makes it sometimes easier, but makes it less, yeah, connecting somehow. It makes more like a match. When you're mind and mind, you match, but it doesn't mean you connect. When you feel a feel, you connect, but it doesn't mean you match. So, yeah, I strongly invite to bring this up and have a conversation with your partner and say, okay, I am usually more in my rational and I'm usually more in my feelings. So whenever we're in that situation, we bring consciousness, we become aware, and we say to each other, you could find even a word like, hey, consciousness means that I'm in my head and you're in your feelings, and it's not working. So we both have to do the effort to meet each other in the middle point. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's about us. And yeah, maybe you just say the word consciousness, and then suddenly we're like, oh, wait, what's happening here? Because you already previously talked about it, and you already previously said this is our code word for whenever we are talking to each other or in a conversation with each other, and we're just separated. We're just, I'm in my head, you're in your feelings, and there's so much distance between us. So where can we meet? And then you mentioned that word, and then you just try to come closer to each other. But of course, again, this is an effort of two. If there is only one doing, there's nothing you can do. Unfortunately, that's the moment where you will be invited into feeling different types of sensations in your body, which is feeling powerless, which is difficult to manage, but it's also acknowledging that you cannot go and change someone. You just accept who they decide to be in that moment. If someone is deciding to be in their head, well, so let it be. If someone decides to be always in their feelings and constantly being there without moving from there and being that victim, well, so be it. You cannot go and rescue them from there. You cannot go and change them from there, because you will be generating a new conflict, which that conflict might lead to the end of your relationship over time. It's the overuse of wrong and unhealthy communication that leads you to the end of your relationship. So, if you're really looking forward to having a beautiful relationship, it's strongly invited to really use communication skills, communication tools, and also understanding from which position each one is talking. And yeah, have the use of empathy. That's for me, in my view, it's the key point to have a healthy relationship. Whenever you lose empathy, you lose each other. You lose the way how you can, yeah, feel and experience each other. And empathy, by the way, as an add on, it's also on the side of the one that is drawn by their feelings, because sometimes when what is very common in the victim is that the victim, it's all about them. It's all about, oh, my feelings, I'm so sad, I'm feeling so bad, can someone please help me, but please don't help me too much because I prefer to be my victim. So empathy there is also very helpful, because it's all about our feelings. So where is the space for empathy for the other? There is no space for the other, because it's all about us. It's all about us, my feelings and my sadness, and my feelings and my sadness. There is no space for empathy, because there is no space for anybody else, because I'm overwhelmed with my own feelings. So intelligence, so your mind can be there to remind you, like, hey, maybe it's time to use empathy. In order to use empathy, you have to at some point stop with your story, stop with your victim, and just have a look at who is in front of you and have a reminder. Do I love this person? Or is it all about me? Can I love her? And do I want to invest in an effort right now to generate empathy? And this happens on the both sides, guys. It happens on the both sides. It's not a one way. This question of, do I love this person? And do I want to do an effort for the us or not? And there is where it all starts. The healing process is there is where it starts. It's when we start caring about each other. So please all just care about each other, love each other, ask you those questions over and over again, and remember why you're doing things. It's all about love.